a topic today is genomics, get with the program, and that's got a question mark following it. We've got two breeders here, Bryan Bendall from Seven Hills and Jono Reid from Grampians Angus, both breeding Angus bulls. And so, today is getting under the skin of this topic of genomics. It's fairly topical. We're hearing things like single step getting bandied around and promoted as the new era for animal breeding and for beef breeding. But we really want to think about this from a practical, applied point of view. So how are people using genomics and why? And so why would you? So Bryan, if you give us a few details on where you are and where you're from and what your program's all about to kick us off.
Yep. Hi, Bryan Bendall. Nikki and I farm in Paetua in the Tararua region, the central, lower central North Island. Sort of a sheep and beef operation based around 400 Angus cows and R2 heifers calving down each year and 4,000 Romney ewes. And for our cattle, a strong focus on calving ease, fertility, growth, and carcass traits for the end consumer.
Hey, and what sort of country you're on there, Bryan?
We've got a reasonably good balance of some flats in the centre and then medium hill and steep hill further out.
Cool. And Jono, down south, could you tell us a wee bit about where you're from and your own breeding objectives?
So, Jono Reid, we're from the Grampians, which is inland of Culverton. We farm around a bit over 3,000 hectares there, of ranging from flat to sort of high country, into high country stuff. So we run, sheep and cattle, merino flock of ewes, and around 400 cows, some of which are still commercial cows. We're sort of gradually changing them over to fully recorded. And really, I guess the one thing that we haven't changed is the management of the cows since we started with the stud, which was in 2003. So it's really the function and the purpose and the type of cow just has to stay the same. We want to improve. We've got a real focus on early growth and a real cap on mature cow weight. And I'm interested in feed efficiency traits. That probably sums it up.
Cool. Okay. So, just Bryan, if you could give us a bit of an idea of how you've used genomics in your program so far, and what you used it for. So, telling us about the use of genomics.
Yeah, we sort of we've followed the genomics since 2012. We first did our bulls and sale bulls in 2013, and we've done them since every year. And we've done our 2014 females, and the 2015-16 females, replacement females, are being done at the moment, and we've done the entire calf crop for 2017, male and female. So that's sort of where we're sitting.
So you're a long-time user for sort of 5 years, doing extensive amounts with a big commitment to genomics. You're a bit of an old hack, really. Whereas Jono, you've done what and what examples of in the past?
We've done our 2016 sale bulls. We did them once I was selected to go into the sale, and it was around the time when single step actually came in. Single step must have come in afterwards actually, and things really altered after that, which was interesting and kind of nice to see, to be fair. And then otherwise, I've actually just done my L's and M drop heifers that are due to calve, so the first calves and second calvers. That was where I was sort of going to start. I guess we're in this discussion to see how much further I go with it, and whether I could be, persuaded to do potentially. We already sire trace, we multi-sire mate, so we already sire trace all of our calves. So yeah, I mean, if it's one of these things, the costs keep coming down in these with these sorts of tools. So yeah, it'd be nice to think that we're just running through with the whole package.
You've been doing this a fair while, Bryan. Why are you doing this, and why are you committed to genomics?
I think from what I've seen of it used overseas, really, was what convinced me that it's here to stay and it has a place. I mean, we've talked extensively on our trips overseas to American Angus and to the likes of ABS and Select, how they're using them or using it. And then I think it gets down to the future. And I think feed efficiency is going to be one of the keys there, and also carcass quality as well. So I think it's as much about the future as the now, to be honest, Max.
So when you talk about feed efficiency and carcass quality, and why is that different with genomics?
Well, I don't think we're going to be able to do the feed efficiency work in New Zealand, so we're going to have it come in through genomics, essentially. So making sure that our cows aren't consuming more as well as producing more, because that's a net gain of zero. So we
let someone else do the research, and then we get the benefit of checking out the markers and seeing the relationship with that research, and we're able to predict performance in New Zealand cattle. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's important to have the beef progeny test linked with Australia, the New Zealand one linked with Australia and America, because that's when we in New Zealand will get the major benefits, because we're pretty small. We haven't got a very big cow herd.
Yeah, so when we're talking on the why, so Jono, do you think, you mentioned before feed efficiency was important to you, so, and that could be a trait you're looking at. You think genomics will provide an opportunity for you to select your own animals on that trait?
So I guess absolutely. Like if I could have faith in that it was going to. So interestingly, I suppose our 2016 born bulls, a lot of the traits they didn't rank that well on, or well at all on, with genomics, but the feed efficiency stuff, they came back within some of them top 1%, 2%, which really interested me, I suppose, because we are trying to breed no fuss cattle that can do, and I think Bryan made a really good point before about the feed efficiency thing. If you can up your performance all you like, but if the costs are raising as well to do it, well, it's not very beneficial to anyone. It's like this is all we look at all the time with the rest of the EBV traits is just total output, and it's like doing a budget for your farm without doing a cost analysis. So there's got to be a balance there somewhere. I think, like I say, it would be, if there was a way to sort of, it seems a shame if we can't do work on the feed efficiency here in New Zealand, but I guess my question is, all the feed efficiency work that has been done has been through feedlots and grain weighing, which makes sense, a way to do it, but whether it correlates to cattle that perform just on a grass basis, I suppose, and not just talking. We aren't just talking about. We're not just talking about steers changing grass into meat. We're actually talking about the function of a cow as well, which is massively important to the sheep and beef systems in New Zealand.
But if you're going to be spending, Bryan, $20,000 a year on genomics, you must have a pretty convincing why in your program. I've just worked it out: 400 odd cows, we're assuming 100% calving, $50 a test at the moment. You must be pretty committed.
There's quite a bit of fencing, Max. I think it's about the future, like I said before, but I also think it's about our bull clients and the accuracy, of how the bulls are going to work with them. So, what sort of price do you put on that? And the other thing is getting in the door, so that when the new data, so the fertility, the feed efficiency, the carcass traits, whether they do taste, omega-3 levels, it's all there. when they come through, we'll be able to utilise them very quickly. And it's being connected globally as well, because as I said before, New Zealand is very, very small, 20,000 cows, not very small in the big scheme of global beef production. So it's being in for the future as well as the accuracy of the data for our bull buying clients here and now.
So Jono, Bryan's throwing his cash at it, but you've obviously got some hesitations. You committed to it last year, so that's pretty cool with the crop of bulls. Do you think you'll go ahead and do it again, and what are your hesitations?
Well, I guess I'm part of the reason I came on this chat was to be convinced. So, yeah, I still do have reservations. I suppose there's it comes back to bang for buck. There's a good argument to say, well, you just do your heifers. I can understand what Bryan's saying, making your bull product a lot. I suppose it's the product itself is you can stand behind that a lot better. But yeah, I suppose for me it comes back to I'd like to see some proof. We have, from what I understand, they've got the way they come about to find these indicators was to go through all the bulls that have been used, and this is to connect New Zealand too, the ones that have been used really heavily, and find what they had in common for those genes, for birth weight, for all sorts of things. It would be nice to see, well, we've all had bulls that we've bought that have been lower than them, and just to see what Genomics predicted them as, and then see them, when they've had their 50 progeny, to see where they ended up, I suppose. Yeah, so that for me, I'm sure it can be done. It'd be very easy to do, and I know Bryan, he reassures me all the time it's about population genetics, which makes a lot of sense. But I guess for me and a lot of us, especially in the seed stock world, one bull can have a big impact. And if he moves drastically, you see it all the time with then they can move really negatively, especially a young bull that people put a lot of faith in.
So, comment, Max.
I'd like your comment, Bryan. That'd be great.
Well, number one rule: don't put a lot of faith in the young bull. Use progeny tested bulls if you want predicted performance. I mean, we've used a bull out of Garden Angus that was totally genomics with method genetics, but he was our punt bull. All the rest of our bulls for our herd are progeny tested, proven bulls, because it's really important that we get it right. So, to me, the way we operate in New Zealand, buying lots of 2-year-old bulls to use as our stud bulls, is probably not the best way forward for those herds.
And you're suggesting that Genomics provides, part of that solution, part of the...
Yeah, absolutely. But to me, you really need to be using progeny tested bulls, validated carcass-wise with carcass data, actual carcass, abattoir carcass data, and then use some spec bulls that have got the genomics in them, and that does take some more out. And then if you're so way inclined, I mean, use some other punt bulls that it doesn't matter if they all fall out of the system, but you wanted to try.
So
you've got to leverage it so that you're using accuracy bulls, and then you don't end up picking on genomics or something else because it didn't work.
It's fair enough. I totally understand your point, but when to quote you, don't put a lot of faith in a young bull, what about the young guy or the commercial guy that goes and buys a bull as an 18-month-old bull, and then he pays an extra $5,000 for him because he thinks he's got an IMF that's 1 point higher than the mate beside him? Do you think is that the wrong message? Because I suppose, and not to pick on Beef and Lamb, one of their quotes is too, if you want to make more money, use EBVs. So should you be putting a lot of faith in, as a commercial man, in one bull compared to the next?
Well, normally, as a commercial person, you end up with a team of bulls, and that's the important thing, because it's the average of the team. That's the important thing. And I mean, if commercial guys want to spend the money we spend breeding bulls, they can go for it. But otherwise, the next best option is to buy bulls from guys that are using proven bulls and have used genomics, because there's more data there to back up the accuracy of the EBVs.
Because I guess that's the way our system is geared towards selling young bulls, and if we can guarantee or provide more predictability with those breeding values, then I guess we'd want to, wouldn't we?
Definitely, yeah, no, for sure. Yep.
So the question is that if other studs or other breeders, if they haven't got with the program, they haven't used genomics, or they're not linking in with all these reference populations and genotyping their calves, are they missing out, Bryan?
Well, I'd say at this stage that's perception in one's headspace, but it's definitely not too late to catch up, Max. I mean, essentially, we've taken our herd from a low genetic merit herd in 2003 to a high genetic merit herd in 2017 or 18. We haven't changed how we run our cows. So type, form and function's all still there, but we've shifted, and we haven't changed the mature cow weight a lot, but we've lifted growth, carcass data, carcass weight, and IMF. And I think really it's about focusing on the end user, the consumer. So if you want to do that, and if you put the consumer at the front, then you use all the tools available to get you where you need to go. So, and it's never too late to catch up, Max.
So you've got there by hammering good size and improving that the top merit size of the traits that are of interest to you, and then I guess the flow on is using genomics and enhancing that picture. Jono, do you think other breeders, like yourself, have already missed the boat, or think you've got plenty of time to catch up?
I don't think. I think that was one of the. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's one of the beauties of genomics, is that you can just start at any time and pick up extra information on any animal. So no, I suppose there's any time's as good as any, but it depends on what focus you have. I guess we put it down to is it 18 recorded traits that we use, whether they are the most important. Yeah, and I mean, I suppose the other one, like I said, the feed efficiency, if that comes through and it starts stacking up, it's just a really tough one to try and get a finger on how, if we're making an effect with it or not. But yeah, that is the thing that worries me, I suppose, is the cost side of the structure. But anyhow, yeah, I do think you can pick it up any time, and there's no doubt about it. I do see benefit in adding accuracy. There's never a downside to that.
But it sounds like you still want to see it validated, and you want to make sure you've got bang for your buck on top of you're already doing sire verification, and that's obviously important for Angus breeders registering cows going back into their herd. But any closing comments, Jono?
I suppose, I mean, it's probably it'd be a great thing to have you guys started already putting it through the progeny test.
Yep, so we've genotyped all calves and the beef progeny test and all their size using high density genomics. So
that's going to be awesome. I think that's a great thing. And it's just for guys like me, it's just going to go, well, great. So it follows with our cattle here in New Zealand.
Yeah, as both of you have submitted bulls to the beef progeny test, great supporters, thank you. Those size coming through, all of that data that's generated in the beef progeny test will go into your pre-plan EBVs, and so will the genotypes. So that's all. It's all part of it. And Bryan, any other closing comments from you?
Oh, Max, I think as an industry, we've got to focus on the consumer, the end consumer, a lot more. And then pretty much everything else falls into place. I mean, we know we've got a hill country environment. That's not going to change. So you just start making the decisions that produce a product that the consumer wants. And genomics is a tool that helps us with that, just like EBVs and like structural assessment and et cetera, et cetera. It's another tool in the toolbox. But if you get the headspace that you focus on the consumer and the end product, it all falls into place and you don't get confused.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for your time, guys. And we'll see you next time.